Just look at this. You can see that Sarah Davies at Crafter's Companion has been very, very busy creating beautiful things, and Teresa Welch has created some wonderful projects that I'm about to share with you. So come play with us. Well, practically all of the projects are using both the vintage lace papers. Now, these are 12 by 12. You can see on the product page just how beautiful these are, but just let me entice you for a moment. Okay, that's enough. Then there's also this pearl cardstock, and you can see the 3 colors, and those are the colors that are going to be used. So there's a tan, a lavender, and a teal, all in light colors. So let me show you Teresa's very first project, and this is what it is. This is a 5 by 5 card, and Teresa has used one of the papers on the front, and let me show you that paper. And here it is. So again, this is a 12 by 12, so there's lots of artwork in there, but she's chosen this top area, just not getting in much into the lace up there, and she used that right here. Now, she has also used some of the pearlescent. Well, let me first go with the card. Okay, so here's our card. It's 5.5 or 5 inch by 5 inch. Now, she took 1 1/4 inches off the front, and you can see that she's added a cutting die down below. But what she did was, I thought, very clever, because she took the paper from the vintage lace, first cut that to size, and then she used the cutting die, and this happens to be the vintage lace Chantilly lace border, okay? And here is the die as it's been cut out. Now, it's been cut out of the luxury pearl cardstock. Now, remember I told you there are 3 colors. Well, she used obviously the lavender. She did add some dark purple cardstock on the inside of her card, so that's nice. But what she did is, by having that piece of paper and then attaching this to the back of it, then gluing that onto the front of her card, it gave her a clean inside edge so that you're not seeing the other half of the cutting die showing there. It wouldn't be bad if you did that, but it's just a nice technique that Teresa adds. Now, in addition to this lace cutting die, she also used the brand new Everyday Greetings Dazzles. Now, these, as you can hear, I'm opening the package. These have words in black, white, gold, silver, and brown. She used the silver, and I think the silver really plays well with these kind of frosty colors. So she's got the hello there. And then she also used the fancy border dazzles. Now, looks like this, same thing, it's in all of those colors. And you get quite a few border dazzles. And there are, I'm sorry, I can't remember, but I think there's over 100 anyway. Might even be more than that. You can see that she used the silver at the top. We'll get in just a bit closer. Thank you, Houston. At the top, and you can see at the bottom. So that artwork just does a beautiful job. So all she did was add a little bit. Now, on the inside of her card, as I said, she has the dark purple cardstock, which is going to get used quite a bit here. And then she's also used a different cutting die, and you're going to see this a little bit. This is the Baroque Frames, and you can see there are several frames. So she used the inside piece right here to go inside her card, adding again Get Well Soon and more of the fancy border dazzles, just really making a beautiful, beautiful card. So let's see what else our Teresa has done. Oh, one other thing that she did use on this card is she did some inking, and she used the Harmony. This is a water reactive dye, kind of like the Distress ink pads, and this is Plum Jam. So she did ink the edge just to finish off that purple color. So that's a nice added touch, and Teresa does that. Adding touches just is something the woman does all the time. Now, let me bring our next card, and Here we go. Again, it's out of the vintage lace paper. I thought it might be helpful for you to see where that paper came from. So I have marked it on this sheet, and the front of her card is using this area. So you can see again, very kind of ghosted back colors, tan, lavender, and you can see that she's picked up this piece very much like a topper kind of on her card. So that's what she's used on the front of her card. On the inside, and I love that Teresa does this, she goes with a different color scheme, and I love that. And that particular one is right here. There you go, you can see it. It's an all over blue. Now this one comes from the very first sheet that I showed you, and it's in the lower right hand corner. So we use the upper left, now we're using the lower right. Okay, let me do this a little bit slower. So here we've got our card, and you can see the metallic gold. Well, that's our metallic gold 12 by 12 sheet. It's perfect with this. And you can see the purple, that has been used, as I said, that piece right there. But we're going back to the Rococo frames. Actually, you haven't seen this yet, have you? Just like the Baroque, there are two sizes, multiple cutting dies in this. Let me turn it over so you can see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 cutting dies right there, 5 of them. And you can see this outside frame was done on the cardstock. This is just a tan cardstock. You could certainly use the pearl, but Teresa didn't, because her intention is to heat emboss on it. And if we can get in close, I just want you to be able to see how beautiful that heat embossing is. Now this is using, of course, you're going to use a watermark ink pad, so that's going to be first. And then she's used aged bronze. Now this is an embossing powder from Stampendous. Don't be confused like I was for a moment. We also have a bronze age that comes from Creative Expressions. This is aged bronze. Just follow the directions on the in the gallery. That will help you. But look at the texture that it offers. It's just, we're going to get in really super close again, Houston. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? So it's giving the gold, but it also has some of the plum color, and just gorgeous. Now, the other thing Teresa's done is she used the same fancy border dazzles around the edge, so gold on gold, which I think is a beautiful look. She also went into this set of dazzles. You see those butterflies? They are silver, but they have a gold edge, and they're simply called silver jewel butterflies. There's 192 in the pack. And doesn't that look a beautiful extra touch going into the imagery? She also brought in the white ribbon, and you can see she used a sheer. And then that Thinking of You is part of the set of Tiny Words and Phrases dazzles. The silver's on top, but again, you're getting silver, gold, black, white, and brown. So just gorgeous. Isn't that a beautiful look? Now on the inside, as I said, she has stayed with the gold metallic for her matting. Same idea with the heat embossing on the cutting die. And this is from the first set I showed you. It is the Baroque set. Let me bring it in. So Baroque and Rococo, those are two styles of architecture, if I remember correctly, and they certainly do a nice job here. So you can see, just lovely. Now, she has chosen to make this a sympathy card, which I think is really sweet, but it could be birthday, it could be anniversary, wedding, thinking of you as it is. It could be so many things. It's just really a great set. And I think it's fun that she cut out another piece of one of the papers to go inside here. So that's a nice technique to know. The woman always has lots of stuff for us. Now we're going to go into cutting embossing folders. And in this particular case, Teresa has used this one. But you know, you may not recognize it on there because the woman has done several things. To begin with, she did her embossing folder out of purple. She did a dark color, and I'll show you why. Because she wanted to use the Opal Polish. Now this is the, let me see, Lilac Pearl. Now, it may not look very lilac-y right there, but let me show you what it will do. And as a matter of fact, if you've watched the webisode that Sarah did in December, talking about the opal polishes, and you just pop out the sponge that's on the package. And one thing you do want to do is you want to initially dampen this. It kind of activates it. Okay, now I'm going to go into the opal polish and let me show it to you. I'm hoping you can see. I think we need to get, thank you, Houston. Can you see all of the shine that's in there? And you can see a hint of the purple, but let me do it a little bit better, get a little bit more on here. As you may know, that you just use a little tiny bit. So I'm dipping it in and I'm scraping it off. And then I'm going to put it onto the white cardstock. And what you will get, whoops, is simply a shiny pearlescent. Now it's kind of not clear. We got too close. Okay. You can see a hint of purple. Okay, are you sitting down? Let me show you what happens on black. Wow, look at that. It just pops. Now, Teresa decided to use it on purple. So let me do the same. Again, very, very little. So this is the embossing folder. It's 5 by 7. And she just went over lightly, as I'm doing here. I hardly have any on the sponge, but that's what works better. Sometimes we feel like, well, we want to get our money's worth, and so we put a lot on, but you don't really need to. And so you can go over it multiple times, should you choose. And it will dry very quickly. Now, okay, so there you can see that beautiful purple. Okay, let me get that out of the way. I'll pop this back on and rest it. Now, let me bring back the project and let me clean off my surface right here. Well, I guess I'll have to do it with some water. Okay. Here we go. So now, what happened to the embossing folder, you might ask? Well, let me show you. So it's the big piece like this. And what Teresa did after she embossed it on black and then did her opal polish is that she cut out the areas. So we've got two big ones and two kind of triangles. And then she placed them like so. Now I've got them still out of black, just to help you see how these get placed. So this part goes here. The opposite one goes there. That triangle part goes up there and goes down here. You know, as silly as it sounds, I don't know that I would have thought of doing all of these things with the embossing folder, certainly not cutting it apart, but isn't that beautiful? And Teresa has a piece of the purple cardstock that she used on the back of her card along so covered her card first with the cardstock. And then this paper is, of course, from the vintage lace paper pack. And then we've got a new cutting die coming in here. This is called a Kaleidoscope of Butterflies. And what I love about these, so you get 3 sizes, as you can see. And that when you die cut them, they stay in one piece, but the wings will separate like so. And I really like being able to lift those wings up. Isn't that pretty? Everything in the collection, as you can see, is very lacy. even if it is Baroque or Rococo frames. It's all very intricate looking, and isn't that beautiful? Now, you can tell that Happy Birthday oval and this was cut out of the pearl cardstock, and it was cut using the Baroque frames, just like so. And she has added the tiny words and phrases Dazzles in silver, along with silver jewel dazzles. On the inside of her card, she did it again. This time she went more into the teal, but the same thing. Now this time she's also using the Baroque frames. As you can see, they're the oval ones, and more of the butterflies on the inside. All of this is done with the pearl cardstock. Oh, so pretty. Isn't that lovely? Good idea, woman. And she's got the purple ribbon set. So just beautiful. That's what I expect of Teresa, and the woman never disappoints. Okay, I've got two more. Now, this is being done out of the embossing folder all by itself. Now, my card is 5 by 6.5. The embossing folder is 5 by 7. Now, is that going to stop me from using it? Well, it certainly isn't, because you can go ahead and cut it, go ahead and use it, and let it go to fill your card just however it's going to do that. Now, Teresa has used the pearl cardstock on this card. I want to tip this just so you can really see that pearl essence. So nothing has been done to the pearl cardstock, simply doing it in the embossing folder. Now, because this is a rectangle, we know that that is coming from the Rococo frame, and you can see it's the smaller one, beautifully done. Now, again, Teresa used the inside out Dazzles and the fancy border Dazzles and the white ribbon, putting a flower right there. On the inside of her card, wow, look at that. That is the large Rococo frame. And I think it's really fun. Very often, I think that the giant piece, the wow piece, is going to be on the front of my card. But seeing it on the inside is just really, really fun. It's a nice surprise. I do have to tell you, I love the colors of the pearl cardstock. And don't the card inside, outside Dazzles work beautifully? So thinking of you, may all your wishes come true. And those little butterflies are part of that set. So really gorgeous. Okay, I have one more, and this is another stunning. There's my little Post-it note. So this too is using the Rococo and the frames. Again, that's the rectangle ones. And you can see all the variety that Teresa has done. She has used the pearl cardstock, that teal color, white cardstock, and silver paper. Look at that. Isn't that just striking? The inside outside Dazzles, again, the Happy Birthday, the silver paper, white ribbon, as she's used quite a bit here, the silver jewel Dazzles, and on the inside she has gone back, and I just want to point this out. Remember that Chantilly lace cutting die we used in the very first card? Well, she has done it out of white. So we get this beautiful white on white treatment. And I think it's just lovely. And again, we've got one of the inner pieces of the Rococo frames. We've got those beautiful Kaleidoscope of Butterflies. And again, the inside out, the more candles, the bigger the wish. Now, you may want to make note of that, but it's quite true. So look at that. Now, as you can see, we love this set. So vintage lace papers, vintage lace pearl cardstock. Come on over here. We've got an embossing folder, and we have Rococo and Baroque. They're kind of fun to even say. Cutting dies, as well as our Chantilly lace and our Kaleidoscope of Butterflies. Just to let you know, all of the instructions are at paperwishes.com. Just click on the gallery. In addition, There is a money saver, and we just want you to be able to take advantage of it. We'll separate this into a couple of money savers just to give you some options. And thank you so much for joining us. We absolutely love doing this with you and for you, and appreciate your being part of our Paper Wishes family. By the way, if you're seeing this on YouTube, head on over to paperwishes.com. We want to make sure you see the instructions and also can take advantage of that money saver. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.